afternoon, everyone. It's 4 o'clock. And this is Friendswood Downtown Economic Development Corporation's scheduled meeting on Tuesday, February the 13th, 2024. And it is 4 o'clock, and we're convening this meeting. We have a quorum on the dais, and so we're ready to do this. Thank you for that thumbs up down there. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Hill, Mr. Todd, Mr. Paul, Marks, and myself, Rebecca Hillenberg, are present. Does anybody else ever do that? You're going down the line and then all of a sudden, okay, so I apologize. Sorry, Paul.
It's just me.
We are moving to number 2 on the agenda, which is public communication. And right now, if there is any public communication, I would like to remind the corporation board that we really can't engage in any conversation or ask any questions because it is public comment. And our staff attorney nicely reminded me of that, so I thought we need a reminder of that. So we're just here to listen.
Almost impossible for me, but thanks for bringing it up.
Altus?
Well,
You got him.
No, I don't.
Yes, ma'am.
So my name is Sally Branson, and I'm coming before y'all. I won't even take the full 3 minutes. I'm really sorry Ron isn't here because he's wondered how long it'd take before I'd have to go ahead and say something at one of these meetings. So now I wanted to bring to you all something for you to take a look at, and thank you. Stephen is passing out a little chart. There's a piece of property that we have become aware of that might be up for sale. And it just happens to be what folks refer to as the old Bayou Gardens, but it's the green building. Originally it was the snack shack here in Friendswood. I bet Malton probably has some pictures of it at his office. But we thought that property, which Steve Carpentier used to own, he sold it back to the original owners. And the original owners own the yarn shop and it's now a duplex that's right behind there. This makes it a really nice, attractive piece of property, centrally located in our downtown area. I wanted to bring this to your attention, maybe as a temporary solution, maybe not as a permanent solution, but the mayor had mentioned this, and I brought it before CEDC. They were very excited about it, as I am the liaison to that group, that this might be an opportunity to purchase the property or work out maybe an agreement with the current owner to at least knock down the buildings that are about to fall down already and put in some impervious concrete parking, nothing permanent because that's expensive to chisel up, but maybe use that as a temporary parking remedy. Not looking for permanent type solution. The other thing, which would be lovely, and this is just me, pipe dreaming a little bit, but directly behind that are some condos. They're individually owned, unfortunately, so it'd take a little bit of work. But if you were able to, FDEDC, if you were able to purchase this property that we're talking about, the Bayou Garden and the yarn shop, the duplex right behind that, and then the complex behind that, which is condos, then you actually are contiguous with almost that entire block that the city now owns. And that's the reason I wanted you to have that map so you can kind of see where that sits. The only other property owner would be Steve Carpenter, who owns the other half that fronts Friendswood Drive. So I just wanted to bring this up for your consideration. I know y'all talked about what is your next big thing. I don't know that this would be your next big thing, but it might be something that would be very impactful in our downtown area, especially as we try to address parking. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. We appreciate you presenting this and bringing the map. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Seeing no one, we will close public comment and move to the minutes. We are to consider approving the minutes of the meeting on December the 12th. We've had a chance to read those and clarify them. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, what is the wish of the board? This is an action item.
I'll make a move.
Thank you, Mr. Marks, and a second by Mr. Hill. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. It is passed unanimously. Thank you. Now we get to have a work session, but we don't have to do anything but really listen, which is wonderful. And we are going to receive a presentation and have an opportunity to discuss the Friendswood Hometown Heroes program. And I believe Mr. Sasson? Oh, Miss Miss Cole, thank you.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Yes, I am going to be speaking for Richard and myself this afternoon. We'll go to the second slide. Perfect. So Richard was in Sparta, New Jersey last year, downtown area, and they were going through and saw these banners on the downtown poles driving through the city, and obviously it was very impactful, and he thought, this is something that would be amazing to have in downtown Friendswood. And then with the FDEC and the new light poles, it just kind of came together. It does show, for a city to show its patriotism, support for their military, former and current. Next one. So another pictures of what he saw, and just a sample banner over here. There's a lot. If you Google it, there's pages of different banners that you can do to honor our veterans. And so Richard thought it would be a great way to share this in our values in Friendswood that really fits with who we are in Friendswood. Okay. So what's involved? Richard came to FTFA, and I'm here. I'm president of FTFA, and he kind of gave this presentation to us, and we wholeheartedly wanted to support it. And in fact, we are basically kind of housing the program. We are providing the website where people will send in pictures and all the information on their veteran. It will be at cost. It is not a money maker. So we will do printing the banners. The city has agreed to put the banners up and take them down twice a year. Yes. And so it's nothing that anybody else has to do any work on. What was I thinking? Yeah. So anyway, sorry. Oh, yeah, so the person is that you have to have lived in Friendswood or live in Friendswood currently, and past military or current military. Be up for Memorial Day and July 4th, and it'll be an annual application. I mean, we've created a page on our website where it's a drop-down menu, branch of service. We tried to make it as streamlined, as simple as possible. We're still working out the e-commerce part, so because we don't want to make it hard. We don't want checks being sent here and there. So. And we've actually gotten the banners. I've worked with James Toney on the size, the specs, and all that, so we've worked that out. So we'll go, Stephen? Here we go. That's my dear old dad. Just used him as a sample. There's Fred. So from our committee that we've worked on, Councilmember Matranga's been part of it, Brett Banfield, myself, and Sarah Peters, obviously doing all the graphics and artwork for us on the FTFA part. The city's been great, again, in their support of putting the banners up and taking them down twice a year. We've worked on the layout. We're finalizing the website. We're working on the e-commerce part. And again, it is at cost, which I want to make that clear that it's not a money maker for anyone. We definitely come here today just asking for you to know what we're doing, just so you know, because we're going to be on your light poles, and that you took care of getting for the city. And just hope that you support the program, and as much as FDFA has and what Richard brought to us in City Council. I don't think there's any more. Okay. Do y'all have questions for us?
No, but I have a comment, just that you have been to City Council and gotten their seal of approval.
We did.
And we appreciate you coming and letting us know about the program and what's going on. Thank
Absolutely.
You. Paul, did you?
And did you say you would be responsible for installing and removing?
The city. That's what the city is committed to. The city is putting them up and we're storing them. Actually, we can go either way. We haven't figured that out. I mean, is it easier for the city to just store them somewhere? I don't know how they keep that organized, but we will bring them to the city. We will have them printed. We do the whole process of getting the photos, getting all the information. The only thing the city's doing is putting them up and taking them down.
What about the banner brackets that hold the banners?
So, I'm sorry.
The banner brackets that hold the banners?
Well, there's 20 poles of the new light poles that have already been pre-installed. Those will be the ones we use. Richard and Joe did an inventory of all the poles in the city on 518 and in the park, so we know which ones have the kit already on them, which ones are broken. So we kind of an inventory of what we can use. We're going to obviously use on 518 first, the new light poles, and then we will then go to the ones that are available even into the park.
Okay. And those
There's also some old poles that have the banner brackets that they use now, and we'll use those too.
Yeah.
those will work on the poles?
Yes. So
those
I've
are-
worked with James to get the spec, so I have the exact size that the city's been getting. And even the new ones, so the one size banner will work on either the new bracket or the old one.
Are you hoping to start this May?
We are. We are going to take our website live for a test run March 1st.
Good.
And then we will be ready to, the banners take 2 weeks to print. We've worked out our marketing, advertising, how to get the word out so people can, get with some veteran organizations and some active military, because I know they've probably got their own social media groups, and trying to hit it as loud as we can in the very beginning. And we feel like it'll really domino year after year as people see their veterans up on banners.
Excellent.
It's super thoughtful. It's really nice. I just want to make sure I got this part. So they have to have lived in Friendswood at some point, so it's not just going to become
Correct.
everything.
Either been past or
What is
current.
the durational time? I saw it there with the screen change real quick. How long will they be hanging up there for?
We, kind of for the life of the banner. I mean, it'll be up there 2 times a year, but then
Yeah.
they'll go back up. So there's no, at this point, we can't say your banner will be there for 5 years. We don't know how they'll weather, but they're just going up twice a year,
So they're going to go up and come down.
2
They're
times
not
a
going
year.
to stay there the whole time.
Correct. Just Memorial Day and July 4th.
So when I read it initially, I was concerned about who was going to manage the getting the information and processing the things.
That's
but
us.
y'all are handling it.
That's FDFA.
I think it's really cool and it's very American.
I think it is, we feel it is patriotic.
It is.
And something, and I think that speaks a lot for Friendswood.
Those poles were purchased. We knowingly knew that we could have the option to hang things on them. And currently, we don't have a thing to hang on them. And that would be a start.
It
Great
would.
way to inaugural.
Yes. But my dear old dad will not be on a pole. I'm sad to say. It's as close as he's going to get.
Well, but you are being instrumental for other families.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And that's beautiful. I do have one question.
Yes.
When you determine the criteria for people that can be on the pole, make it very clear.
Absolutely.
So,
So Sarah will be working on not only, she's working on the website, so it'll be the continuous and streamlined communication. It's the same communication no matter who sees it or where they see it. It will all be done from one source, and it's very clearly past or present residency. And we've even done research on branches. There's so many other service areas, but we are sticking with, here's the branches of service that with a drop-down menu. And so, and then you upload a photo. So we kind of felt like that was a bit of our way to do some due diligence, kind of vetting people. I mean, they could go to Colonel Bubby's and, get some old camos, but usually we've got some. We will do our very best. We cannot go do background checks on people, but we will do our absolute best to feel confident in who we put up on banners.
People do
Good.
fake military service. Oh, yeah. Bubba didn't want to ask, but he wants to know if the Coast Guard is also included in this.
should be.
It is in that drop-down
It's Coast
menu,
Guard,
yes.
Good.
Yep.
All right.
Merchant Marines was a little up because Merchant Marines were in military, considered military back in World War II. So that was the one that we really had to discuss a lot. But outside of that, it's fairly clear cut.
Coast Guard's in.
Yep, they're in.
Meg hasn't been telling you, but she's been going out getting quotes on banners, and it looks like it's probably going to be around $100 to sponsor somebody. Anybody can sponsor somebody, and as long as you're eligible, we'll go forward and get the picture and go
I'll
forward.
sponsor a bunch of people.
Say again?
I
Excellent.
will sponsor people.
Okay. Perfect. And they will be printed local with a local business. So
And high school ROTC kids are eligible.
Oh, they?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Another source of names, just to keep you in mind, all of the elementary schools every year on Veterans Day do a huge something veteran.
Excellent.
And they asked the children, each, the whole campus, to tell us about your veterans. So there may be some there.
Absolutely. And I do some friends that are active military here that are very active with Folds of Honor. And so I know that we plan to really target, and we want to just get the word out. It's not like we want to be selective. We want to be inclusive and just get as many people knowing about it. But again, I think after we get through the first year and a lot of people see the banners, they'll go.
So realistically, you think other people are going to propose and sponsor their veteran, right? I mean, because a lot of veterans wouldn't ring their own bell.
Oh, no, it would be,
what I mean?
I foresee it's something that either a friend or family
Yeah.
member, and they don't
It's
have to
an
be
honor.
living. It can be something you do for someone that's just in memory.
What are you going to do when you get too many requests and you can't get them all up there? You're just going to have a wait list or something and rotate
You know, at
them?
that point, we're going to have to, hopefully that comes in the next 2 years, but we'll have to then
Bet it comes
put a
quicker
time,
than that.
add.
I think the first time they're hanging up there, everybody that didn't know is going to go, how come Bob's not up there?
Exactly, and if they'll see it and they'll be like, wow, what a great, and then, if we have to say you're up for a year, you're up for 2 years, but you definitely get put up 2 times in 1 year. It's there'll be an annual, I was going to say application
I
for
would
better
rotate
words.
it so it's not the same people because it just makes it more townly.
Yeah.
And you can acknowledge them all.
Yep.
I'm glad you all have thought of all of the different things
Try.
that I know you
I'm
have.
sure we
that-
have not thought of everything.
Well, but it will make it easier for you if you do think of everything.
yeah.
So anyway,
I've got one question.
yes, sir.
Is this going to be rolled out on the FDFA website, or how
It
is
is.
this going to run?
Yes, there will be a page on the FDFA website. You can link directly to that page, but it will come under the FDFA umbrella.
Perfect. Okay.
Are we
Thank you.
funding, is this group funding anything?
No.
You just
No.
We're just
notifying
here to let you know what we're doing, and because y'all are a big part of downtown.
It's cleaner.
Yes.
Excellent.
From talking to other cities, they say the first year tends to be slow and the second year takes off.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Any other questions?
I'll go in the first year.
I got one too.
Any other?
But I have to
comments?
say this, thanks to Richard for bringing this to Friendswood. I would have never known about it. None of us would. So thank you.
The spirit,
Yes.
everybody is positive on it, which is wonderful, especially FDFA, and so it works out great.
All the right people are in the midst of
I had
it.
only one request for starting this, and that's to be able to sponsor Bob Wieners. So I've claimed him if you're already thinking about that. Too late.
You've
I
got
his
him.
picture.
You've got it.
I have a text from a week ago where I already claimed Bob Weir.
I
Whoa!
already got his picture.
I've got
In which uniform?
Marine.
Marine.
It's going to be in the Marine uniform.
Okay. No, I meant either police
Oh,
or.
right.
It's going to be in the Marine.
Yes, he is a very proud Marine.
Hold on.
yes. So, any other
I don't
comments?
want to be on there.
What?
I don't want to be on there.
Okay.
I don't want to see my picture.
We'll talk about that, Paul.
Well, thank
You
you.
may not have any.
Shouldn't have
You,
said that.
Well done.
you
Thank
may
you very
not
much for your
have any-
time. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Very well done. Thanks for coming too. And we always give an opportunity for people to leave if they need to leave. So anyway, we're moving down now to the reports. And we are going to receive and discuss an update on the text dot, curbs, ramps, sidewalks, and traffic signals.
Yes, ma'am. Board members, my update's going to be fairly brief. As you know, these projects just continue to roll on. Thankfully, the sidewalks and curb ramps project is almost there. We do currently have, you may have seen the sidewalk contractor and curb ramp contractor out doing punch list items. They did replace some sections of sidewalk. They did go back in. They've ripped out and replaced some sections of the ribbon pavers. The crew that they had out this go around took a much better, careful approach, and they look a lot better in certain areas. They have come out and taken all the hoods off, and all the pedestrian signals have been activated now. So if you're looking to cross at one of the signalized intersections, you do have the ability to do so safely with the newly installed pedestrian signals and at the crosswalks.
Comments?
Are they completely finished, the signal contractor?
The signal contractor, I believe they still may have some wiring to complete on the signals. I've seen them out here in the last couple of weeks. As it stands with the sidewalks, those are probably 99% outside of some punch list items. There are some some covers and boxes that are being either remedied or sunk in order to have a smoother surface for their ADA compliance. So they're working on those as well.
Because I've noticed several of the street lights can be rotated around now, and they're facing the opposite way. I know some of them are going to be in conflict with the power lines, but some of them can be rotated
The
over.
signals or the street
The
lights?
the street lights that are on the signal poles.
Oh, okay.
So we
I
may
see what
wanna
you're
take a
saying.
look-
Okay.
Yeah, we may want to take a look.
I will double check. I know what you're speaking of. Sure. I'll double check with engineering, and we will see if they need to be, if they're ready to do it, we'll do it.
Okay.
I love the new the new traffic signals.
Oh, I do
And the
too.
less lights and the poles and the whole thing is just cleaner.
It looks really clean.
It's
It looks
much,
nice.
it's an improvement.
And the signage is nice. Any other comments? I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm waiting on lighting.
We opened the door for you to say that. Any other comments or
took one for the team
questions?
That is.
Good, moving on, we're going to receive and discuss the illumination project. And in this report, I have asked Paul to give us an update on his communications about the lines that are on, depending on which way you're going, but on the, I will say the right side of, east side, thank you,
East side.
of 518, because it does impact the illumination. So, Stephen, do
Okay.
you want to start, or Paul?
Sure. Again, this will be brief. I mentioned at our last meeting in December that there were about 35 properties that needed some type of easement due to the site conditions or obstructions where the pole would have to be kind of relocated or remaneuvered. The company that we had has put together those surveys. They're getting them back to, getting the engineering and the exhibits back to our city engineering department, who is beginning to push those out to the property owners. Many of which that we visited previously while we were on site have already verbally agreed to it. So it's really a matter of signatures at this point, hopefully. And then something that I would just applaud our engineering department as we have come up on some of the site conditions with infrastructure below ground that either was not known at time of survey or just conditions on the site. They've come up with an alternative foundation design to help us be able to place the poles where we originally intended, just with a different foundation design that meets all the proper specifications. So that is something that I would just like to point out.
Thank you.
What percent of our light poles do we think are up now? What do you think?
Probably about 20%, 30%.
Will you keep us posted when they're going to be, any of them are going to be turned on?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I mean, it's a
Are we
banner
still-
day.
Are we still doing the get them up and then turn them all on at once thing?
Well, we haven't discussed that, but I know they're going to come on in sections. So even if we get one section ready to turn on, be
So-
nice to know, and then we can turn it back off and decide if we want to do it all at once.
Yes, ma'am. So the intent is as each, and I hope to get the nomenclature correct, but as each circuit is put together and we complete a circuit, that we can energize that meter. And once that meter has been okayed, then we can basically flip the switch on for all the lights that are on that circuit, and we'll hopefully say wow, and we'll turn it back off and wait for the next one.
What about demo of the existing lights that are out there?
So that is basically the phase 2 of this project as we move forward. And so myself and Karen have had a couple of discussions on the best way to approach it, and we're still working through that. We have had contact, or I've had contact with a couple of the property owners, most of which are in some sense that they would approve and like to move forward with either on their own or with some type of assistance.
Yeah, some of those lights are going to have to be removed before we can come in with ours. So we're going to have to coordinate it.
If they are in the right of way, then that coordination should have already been taken care of because we can remove them.
Well, they'll be within a foot, I think, because some of them are right on the property line with the
Okay.
right of way, with the private lighting, and then ours are going to be right beside it. And so those lights, I would think, would have to be removed, but
We can.
like you're looking at
We
it.
do have the engineering and the surveying, and we do have some of our project managers from our engineering department that are on top of that. So I'll convey that back to them and make sure that they keep an eye on it.
okay.
I don't want to ruin the surprise, but Alton told me when we turn them all on for real, he is treating everybody there to Perry's dinner. So make sure you show up on that night.
Better be careful what you define as everyone.
Everybody there.
It's his credit card.
Oh, good. Thanks, Alton. Then everyone.
Everybody. Come on.
Yeah, then everyone. All right, good. Any other comments or questions on that part? And if you remember from our workshop activity a few months ago, we made we wanted to learn more about our next project, which possibly could be removing as many of the lines as we possibly can on the east side.
Communication lines.
Communication lines, thank you, on the east side of 518. And Paul has very generously chaired that. So Paul, bring us up to date.
Okay, yes, I've been in contact with AT&T and Comcast. Comcast, we still got a ways to go. AT&T, we're starting to get somewhere. The engineer that I reached out to with AT&T, he transferred out the day that I got it. And so, but no, this is a good thing because the new one that they brought in, I know I've worked with, when I was with Centerpoint Energy, I worked with him on many road projects. And so, and he's from Friendswood. And so, he's excited about the project as well. And what I've done is I've called AT&T's 800 number to get the project started. And what they've done is they've sent a form to fill out, and I've talked to Stephen about this actually this morning, because there's two different ways we can go about this. I know we're paying for it, and however, if the request comes from, let me back up a minute, there's a $500 activation fee to start the process. If we request that, we pay for that. If it goes through the city, there's no fee. And so that's what we're, Stephen's gonna get back with AT&T. I've given him the contact person that I've been talking to, and so he's gonna see if he can switch that back over. Now, there may be some other cost savings with that as well, and that's what I wanted to talk to Stephen and Karen about, possibly to look in our franchise agreement to see if we can waive some of that cost. I'm not sure what the language is within our franchise agreement, but they may be able to take care of some of that cost, so that's something worth looking into as well.
And just to remind everyone, this is under the illumination project because it impacts our poles and their placement. And so it's all kind of meshes together, so please keep that in mind.
Yes, the communication lines, I think that's gonna be a really big deal, because right now they're hanging in or on top of the streetlights. So I think if we get those out of the way, it's gonna look much cleaner and much better.
And I would just add on to that, on the city side, the engineering department has also began some of their investigation on some of the other communication lines that are hanging on the same brackets as AT&T. The city itself has some lines on those poles, so we're coordinating with those folks. And I appreciate Paul getting the ball rolling. I think it'll be better situated as a umbrella-wise under the city engineering department. That way, everything's kind of kept on the same page with those folks, with the project managers. But we'll keep everyone involved. Paul, especially as he helps us out.
It's exciting. Go
As long
ahead.
as Karen gives her check on it, we're good.
That's right. Any other comments or questions?
No.
Thank you, Paul,
Oh, you're welcome.
very much.
I can't imagine more impact we could make right now than taking everything down below that high voltage line.
Yeah.
I mean, there's half a dozen wires below it, and they're all in our lights. And Paul, great job, Stephen. If we could do that, I think it'd make a material difference to the view of the street.
Yes. It's gonna make a big difference.
Huge
Yes.
difference.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And get used to being on the agenda monthly
Sure.
so that we can get updates, okay?
So just, y'all all know it. We're retrofitting a developed town with a lighting project, and you're gonna have to work through this. And the light poles are coming online, sidewalks done, but taking those wires down, if you took a picture before and you take a picture at the end of this, it's gonna be a material difference.
Thank you for pointing that
Well,
out. Any other comments or questions? We're next going to discuss our financial report which continues to grow, folks. Stephen?
Yes, ma'am. So real quickly for the financial reporting for January of 2024. My apologies. The beginning of fund balance for the FDEDC fund balance was $2,563,731 with a revenue of $71,431. That's the sales tax increment along with the interest. Expenditures were $215,681. The majority of that is to Pfeiffer and Sons for the streetlight work that is ongoing. And then Aubrey and I and other city staff, we took in our $1,334 with the FDEDC fund balance remaining $2,418,147.
Thank you.
I will point out there are some outstanding items that or encumbrances that will go towards the downtown lighting program, and then there's just some very small dollar amounts there that we still have if we need for Gandy lighting, in case we need his expertise.
And remind me again, the taxes that have been collected are 2 months?
Yes, ma'am, 60 days. So
we have not seen the Christmas number
correct.
yet.
So the
Okay.
February financials report that would be given to the EDC would contain the December sales tax.
So I'm gonna just blurt this out because there's 3 council members here, and I don't know if y'all ever see our books, but when this group started, that revenue stream, monthly revenue stream, was sub 50,000. It was in the 40,000s and it's 71,000, and that's not an abnormal number now. That's becoming pretty static, which tells me somebody's selling more stuff in this town. It's probably a good thing. The tax revenue's tied to how much somebody's selling, so it's good.
And our 1/8 of a cent is doing
Yeah,
big
that-
stuff. And
well-
so it's got to be doing big stuff for that streets account
Well,
too.
I'm not saying this group has anything to do with that number changing. I'm just saying
No.
that number changed, and that's a good thing for the town.
Definitely. Any other comments? Well, hearing none, we're to number 6. And frankly, that's not what I expected today. So, do we have a motion? No one wants to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second, thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you for a very good meeting, very efficient.